Hey everyone, and welcome to Upcycled Adulting, where I am here to help you upcycle your real life into your best life by teaching you how to overcome obstacles, grow to accomplish your goals, and create healthy habits. And in the theme of this month, today I'm going to be talking about how to show up in your life as your authentic self. Now, this has become like a big catchphrase, especially in the personal development world, where people are talking about showing up as your authentic self, living full out as your authentic self, etc. One of the big challenges here is a lot of us really don't know how to do that. And a lot of us legitimately fear the potential rejection or abandonment that could happen if we started showing up in a way that was not necessarily pleasing to other people or maybe completely aligned to how we've shown up in our relationships in the past, right? Many of us have been wearing masks for a really long time, whether with our family of origin or our friends or even our partners or children. We're showing up as some idealized version of what a good friend is, or what a good daughter is, or what a good mom is, or what a good partner is. And so, what we're struggling with here is actually creating connection to that authentic self in the first place. And then the fear really of how do you show up that way without blindsiding people, without compromising, without feeling like you're either selling yourself short or letting everybody else down. So today I want to talk about the 5 big techniques that you want to lean into if you are looking to show up more authentically in your life or in your family or in your relationships or wherever you happen to be right now. Number 1 is, of course, to find yourself. Now, listen, you don't have to know everything about yourself, and it's okay if things are changing. There has to be space in our relationships for us to grow and develop as people. It's okay to say, you know what? I actually really am not that into hiking. Yeah, I know I've always gone along with hiking with you, but it's actually not one of my favorite things to do on vacation. There is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing at all wrong with making those adjustments as you get to know yourself better. But spending the time and energy on actually accepting yourself, acknowledging who you are, rather than thinking about what everybody else wants you to be, is absolutely essential if you want to show up more authentically in your life. Because let's face it, if you don't know who you are, you can't really show up as you. So just take a little bit of time, maybe do a little journaling or a little brainstorming. I actually did a video set about how to find yourself, so you can go and check that out. There's also some resources on my blog for this, but I highly, highly recommend that you take a little bit of time to start peeling back the layers and really getting connected with who you are and building in some self acceptance at the very least. If you're not ready for self love, that's okay. Move through to some self acceptance. Number 2 is to identify your why. Why does this even matter to you? Why is this actually important to you? Just like any other goal, it's important to figure out why you are connected to this. Because the thing is, if you are trying to show up more authentically because you've heard 15 gurus in the personal development field tell you that that's the key to happiness and you want to be happy, that's not going to make this happen. This is actually a challenging thing. So when you think about why this matters to you, I want you to think about, how will this enrich your life? How are you inspiring the people around you or setting an example for your kids? Maybe your reason is that you feel unfulfilled and you want to feel fulfilled. You want to find your passion and live there. You want to find your purpose and pursue it. You want relationships that are based on who you really are. Maybe your reason is it's just too much work. I mean, it's exhausting. If y'all are exhausted, listen, showing up as someone that other people want you to be is exhausting. That's potentially why you're so tired. Maybe it's because this is really stressful. Maybe it's because you're having some health issues. I remember that one of the biggest reasons why I started pursuing this is because I was having a chronic health problem. I actually was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition, and I was like, this isn't working anymore. I'm literally destroying my physical body, going to put myself in an early grave because I'm trying to show up how everybody else wants me to be. I have no idea who I am. I have no idea what I want. And I am exhausted and miserable. I don't want that life. And maybe that's you too. So sometimes when we're thinking about our why, people tend to get hung up on like your why always has to be some wonderful future event that you want. But the truth of the matter is sometimes your why might be, I don't want that. I'm on this road and I see where it leads and I don't want to go there. That's not the destination I'm shooting for. I don't in this present moment feel the way I want to feel in my life. And that is a solid reason right there. But it cannot be because such and such guru told me that this is what I should do so that I will be happy. That is not deeply connected or aligned with who you are as a person. What that actually is you again modifying yourself to fit someone else's box. All right. It's very important that you not do that. So you are not going to show up in your life more authentically because Cassie said that would make you happier, or Cassie said it would fix your issues, right? You're going to do it because of something that deeply connects to you. The third thing I want to talk about is cultivating influence. So, a lot of why we live in a space where we're not living authentically is because of what we're nourishing our minds with, right? Every time that we're on social media, every time that we're watching TV, every time that we're with, in most cases, every time that we're with our family of origin, we are getting these messages about who we should be. All right. I mean, I'm a big reader and I've read a lot of fiction books. And I have to tell you, even from the books, I've gotten these ideas. Well, the really awesome mom in this book series always did blank, and that's what I should do. And we've been cultivating these ideas since we were little kids. All right. We've been being told this since we were little kids. And this is very prevalent, especially if you're a girl, because girls are so commonly indoctrinated to being people pleasing. Right. So, if you have had this experience growing up and you're still having this experience where you're like, I'm supposed to be the mom who loves being a mom all the time, right? Supposed to do that. Everybody has heard that. And the truth is that it actually kind of sucks sometimes. I mean, if we're being super honest here, there's a lot of really hard, sucky stuff about being a mom, right? And you're not going to love it all the time. And maybe you hate baking for the bake sale. Maybe you hate cooking dinner. That's okay. This space where we're supposed to show up in a certain way in our lives is a big part of why we can't show up authentically and why we can't find ourselves in our passion and our purpose. And so, in the process of trying to figure out who you are, it's very important, and to show up authentically and have support for that, it's super important to cultivate your influence. Okay. And now I don't actually recommend to people that they go no contact unless that feels like the safest thing for you. You do not have to go no contact. You are not, in fact, the 5 people you spend the most time with. I have 5 children. All right. And I have to tell you, I started hearing this when they were 7 to 17. And I was like, I am not my 7-year-old. All right. But what we do need to think about is, how does our social media reflect who we are as people? How do the people that by choice we include in our lives, or the way we navigate those relationships, how do those mirror back to us the things that we feel are authentic? How do those things support our authenticity? Because everyone has someone in their life who's like, here's the list. This is how you're going to show up for me. This is the person you need to be when you're with me. And that person, while you may not be in a position where you want to or you can go no contact with them, you need to minimize your contact with them until they come to a place where they actually can say, you are your own person who's separate from me. Now, I'm going to say a hard thing here because I've been talking about moms, so you know that I'm a mom and I have a mom clearly. And a lot of times, this actually is really problematic with our family of origin. They have an idea of who you're supposed to be, how you fit into the family. A lot of times, as parents, and this is something that you can learn for your children, as parents, we think that our job is to shape our children. And while our job is to support them and our job is to guide them and check in on them, our job is not to create who they are as human beings. They are separate from us. They are their own people. They are their own people. So our job is actually to observe and to nudge and to guide. Our job is not to shape them. And a lot of times what happens as we're trying to live more authentically, as we're trying to find ourselves, right? What happens is our oftentimes parents still feel like we are a reflection of them. There are still rules in the family of how everyone is supposed to be. And so sometimes we need to minimize some of that content. And we need to look at the other people in our lives and say, and on our social media, because you may not have these people in your real life, and that's okay. I didn't when I started either. But in social media, in television shows, in who we're fans of, in what we're consuming, and say, does this inspire me? Does this resonate with me? Does this reflect my values or what I believe in? Does it reflect that? And I am not in any way saying to surround yourself with an echo chamber. What I'm saying though is starting to explore some of these ideas that may not actually be part of your false narrative, but that might be really hitting that nerve where you listen to it and you're like, wow, hey, yeah, that actually that makes sense. I think me too on that, right? Will really help you to see this. Minimizing the amount of content or the amount of exposure you have to should, the word should in general, is really important. When you're watching something or you're talking to someone or you're seeing something and the person is saying to you, you should, you need to, or you are feeling that inside yourself. I really should make meals like that mom does. I really should join the PTA like that mom did. When you're saying that to yourself, that's a pretty good indication that you are imposing someone else's perception onto yourself. You are not living authentically if you are living in the should. And this is vitally important to understand. So should always should should always throw up an alarm. It is a red flag word when you are thinking should. The fourth one is it's really important to create affirmations or a mantra, something that you can repeat to yourself that kind of centers you and reminds you where you are. In addition, I'm going to offer this as an additional like bonus thing here. It's also really helpful to create a stall, because one of the things that gets in the way of us showing up authentically is that we have been conditioned to have automatic response, right? Someone says, do you want to do blank? Yes. Do you like blank? Of course, I like that too. It's this automatic response. And so finding a way to create a pause, even if that pause is, I need to think about that. I need to check my calendar. I need to check in with my partner and see what we have going on this weekend before I agree to that. I need to, meditate on it, pray about it, whatever your thing is. Creating a little pause there will help you not do that immediate reaction. And for me, I like to take a minute to take 3 breaths. So I do not, if you say to me, do you want to blank? Or, oh, I love blank. I pause for a minute before I answer. If you're asking me to do something, I generally pause for a few breaths because I feel like I need a moment to process it. It has come to my attention pretty recently, probably in the last couple years, as I have been in this process of self-discovery, that I have been covering for some pretty significant executive function challenges for most of my life. I also am hearing impaired, which a lot of people don't know about me. And that causes some serious auditory issues. And that means sometimes I legitimately can't process or didn't hear what you said. But I walked around for about 43 years going, "Oh, yeah. Yep. Me too. Yes." It took some time, especially for the people who had been in my life when I made this transition, for them to understand what was happening. And so I actually just started saying to people, I didn't quite catch that. Or I would say, hang on, I just need a minute to process that. Or could you slow down because I'm really just trying to process that. And I noticed that in the morning, I struggle more with this, probably because I'm a night owl. So a lot of times I'll say, listen, I really am struggling to have this conversation because it's really early in the day and my brain is just not fully awake. All right. I need some time. Sometimes I've even said, especially to my husband and people really close to me, my brain is feeling really cluttered right now and I can't respond well here. That is a very authentic and true thing about me. And it might be true about you too. And so just being able to take that pause and say, hang on, like this is not working, right? I feel like I'm getting sucked away going with the flow. And I don't know that I actually want to be going there. So that's really, really important. And then number 5, and this is going to be really challenging for some of you. Some of you might need a mantra around this. I know I did. Some of you are going to need to remind yourselves of this. Some of you are going to potentially even need to talk to a therapist about this. All right. This is going to sound so harsh. Embrace the hate. The truth of the matter is, now I've created this thought process in my mind, and I'm going to share it with you because it's really helped me. I am a content creator. I'm a coach. I am on every social media platform, and that means that I get comments. Somebody might even leave a comment on this video right now and be like, this is ridiculous. Okay. I get comments, all sorts of comments. I get comments, by the way, very consistently about my body or my appearance. I think that that's really common, side note, for women to deal with, and it can create a lot of body image issues. I get comments about all sorts of things that I say, right? And I say things that can be a little controversial, like motivation, willpower, and self-discipline are goal sabotagers. People don't like it when I say that. All right. And I get all kinds of comments. And before I started any of the social media channels, I spent some time and I really convinced myself. I started looking at the people I really loved and listened to on social media and enjoyed their content, right? And I noticed that they all had people who said negative things. And I realized that if you are putting yourself out there and you're being authentic and you're inspiring people and you're showing up as your true self, some people aren't going to like it. Some people are going to feel threatened by it. Some people are going to be uncomfortable with it. And for some people, you're not going to be their cup of tea. I actually created a goal for myself to get a troll. I wanted so badly to get somebody to say something negative because it was my way of knowing that I was being honest and authentic, that I was showing up and that I was growing my audience. Because if I keep showing up, I'm going to find people who don't like what I do or don't like what I say. If I'm not conforming and getting in line and doing what everybody else is doing, there's going to be someone who feels uncomfortable with that. By the way, I find that a lot of times the person who feels most uncomfortable with that is the person who also feels most convicted to do the same thing and they're resisting it. Anything other people say or think about me is about their own stuff. It's not about me. It's about them, right? They're like, "Oh, I don't want to hear that. That bristles me. So I hate what you're saying right now. Oh, I have my own issues with my body. So I'm going to attack yours." All right. This has nothing to do with me. And understanding that the true mark of showing up authentically is that someone is going to have a problem. really helped me a lot. Because the truth of the matter is, if I stay true to the tea flavor that I am, I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I'm not. That's the reality. Not everyone likes chamomile tea, y'all. I love a good cup of chamomile lavender tea. Not everyone likes black coffee, but I do. But black coffee doesn't try to pretend to be something else, right? It doesn't. It's just coffee. If I show up as myself, and I have to tell you, I would say I'm a lady lavender tea. That if I was gonna say I was a tea flavor, that would be the one. I am a lady lavender tea, and if I show up as that, someone's gonna be like, "This is a little too caffeinated. It's a little too strong. You need to put some milk in there. This needs some sugar or honey. It's not sweet enough." Someone is going to say that. But I can't show up one day as Lady Lavender and the next day as Earl Grey and the next day as hibiscus tea. Okay? I know I got on a whole tea boondoggle here. I can only show up as what I am. Okay? I can only show up as what I am. And that doesn't mean that you can't add a little sugar or you can't add a little milk, that you can't. But I am what I am. And so if no one is saying, Cassie's really not my cup of tea, I'm not showing up as my authentic self. And when I think of it that way, I start to think, actually, it's a good thing if someone doesn't like me. I know this is a big jump for some of you. It's a good thing if someone's like, okay. And maybe they don't fully like me, but if I'm showing up as my authentic self, I'm a little socially awkward and I'm a little bit introverted and I'm a little bit of a hermit. And if somebody's not like a lot of my closest friends are like, I mean, I love Cassie, but the fact that she is so like introverted and hermity is kind of challenging. Like, I don't really like that thing about her. They love a lot of other things about me, but that one thing, okay, I always said to my kids when they were growing up, if you can't find something that is problematic. If you can't find something that you're like, that's a little annoying, that's a little quirky, that's a little weird, I don't know if I like that about your friends or people that you're dating or getting into romantic relationships with, that is a huge red flag because that means that they're pretending to be something they're not, and you have no idea who or what they really are. And the people who are best at that are generally the people that are most manipulative and most dangerous. All right. Because all of us here saying, I want to live more authentically, we've already had the experience of, yeah, I mean, I know people don't like this about me and I try to cover it up. And I know that this is a thing, right? We know that that's a thing. When we are not living in our authentic lives, showing up authentically in our relationships, this is a hard truth, y'all, but it is a truth. When we're doing that, okay, we are manipulating the people in our lives. I know. I hated to think of this myself because I think of manipulation as being so wrong and problematic. But when we show up in our relationships and in our lives in a disingenuous way, when we are people pleasing, when we are acting like someone that we're not, we are actually, whether we know it or not, manipulating other people by trying to make us like a false version of ourselves. It's okay. If you show up as who you are, some people will see things that they might not like, and they may love you anyways. Some people may not like you. They may choose to not be in relationship with you. Okay. Also, just so you know, when you start showing up as your authentic self, there's a high likelihood that that feeling will be mutual. You'll be like, I can't believe I've been friends with you for 30 years. Like, we have nothing in common. Like, you are not my cup of tea, and I'm also not your cup of tea. But you also open yourself up to find the people who you are truly compatible with, who you can actually have meaningful connection with and deeper relationship with. And y'all, I have to tell you, on that side, it's really, really amazing. Okay, so I'm going to run through these tips again really quick in case you missed them. 1, take the time to find yourself. 2, figure out what your why is. Why does it matter to you to show up more authentically? It's not because I said so. Okay. 3, cultivate your influences. Y'all need to start hiding and blocking people on social media and finding new people and following them. I like to spend a little time on social media here and there, and I will eliminate some people on social media. But what I'll also do is kind of scroll through my page, and I'll find, people in my For You page or in my feed that I'm like, oh, I love what they said. Then I go to their profile page. I check out what else they have there, right? Y'all, we need to start doing that. And I follow them if I feel, connected or I resonate with them. And I have I actually have really, really amazing social media feeds. 4, and by the way, they're not all like, yay. Okay. Cause I don't dig toxic positivity. So, but I have amazing feeds. And then number 4 is to create an affirmation or a mantra, and set yourself up with a pause so that you don't automatically respond to things where you're trying to actually give yourself some time to process. And number 5 is, you don't have to figure out what flavor tea you are, but you do need to know that you will not be everyone's cup of tea. And instead of having that be scary or problematic, creating a mindset where that is your goal is really, really important. You can do that by creating affirmations or a mantra related to this. Okay, my goal is to not be everyone's cup of tea. If I'm showing up as my true and authentic self, I will know because I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And that's a win. All right. Creating some affirmations here or a mantra here can really help a lot to just shift your mindset a little bit about it. For those of you who don't know, because you haven't watched any affirmation content I've done, affirmations and mantras, when you consistently repeat them, they actually change the wiring of your brain. So if you are struggling right now to say that, please know if you keep saying it, eventually your brain will accept it as truth. The things that your brain accepts as truth because your brain's heard it so many times. Listen, unbelievable. So just keep saying it. At some point, your brain will be like, oh, wait. And then it becomes automatic. I'll never forget the day that I said to my husband, we came back from a neighborhood party. We were talking about, just the people we were talking to at the party. And I said, it's the weirdest thing about her because no matter how many times I talk to her, I never, ever know if she likes me. I can never tell if she likes me. She's just so hard to read. And he was like, oh, I know. I feel the same way about her. And then I walked out of the office. I came back in, turned right around, took 3 steps, turned right back around, walked right back into his office. And I said, you know what I never thought of? Do I like her? Do I like her? That's never been something that I thought of. And from that moment on, I actually started thinking, do I like this person? Do I resonate with this person? Do I want to spend more time with this person? Because I can't control their stuff. I'm not going to try to get them to like me. I don't even know if I want to spend time with them. My job is to check in with me, not them, not to change what they think. Okay. It is a very, very cool thing when that starts to happen. So create that mantra in your head. Remind yourself that your goal is to not be everybody's cup of tea, because that's how you know you're living authentically. All right, do not forget to subscribe to this channel because I am all about helping you overcome obstacles, create healthy habits, and grow to accomplish your goals so that you can upcycle your real life into your best life. You deserve that life. You are absolutely amazing, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.